But what is it really like to see strange visions and hear bizarre voices? Without being schizophrenic themselves, doctors could only imagine what patients were describing. But now there is a way for experts to truly get inside the mind of a schizophrenic. So just put it up. Using the technique of virtual reality, Janssen Pharmaceuticals has developed this device to stimulate the visual and auditory hallucinations of a schizophrenic patient.
Hi. Sorry I'm late. I had to take a phone call.
There's nothing wrong with you.
You're the one in control.
It works like this. The viewer looks into the goggles and watches an animated virtual scenario.
Are you okay? You seem distracted. Have you been seeing anything unusual?
You're no
What's wrong with you? Letting this one tell you what to
can't
do.
do anything right.
What the viewer sees is called walk in their footsteps, and it puts the viewer, in this case me, into the shoes of a schizophrenic person visiting the psychiatrist while being barraged by constant hallucinatory images and voices.
You mentioned having trouble getting to sleep last time. How have you been sleeping?
As I watch this, it's incredibly distracting, so that if I were having to try to really focus on what this doctor is saying to me, I would find it almost impossible, I think, with all these noises and sights. But what was only distracting for me was downright frightening for Ken Steele. Okay. When Ken put on the goggles, he was emotionally thrown back to the time he could not escape the visions and voices. Within moments, he started to panic, sweating, and hyperventilating.
Last time, you were talking about volunteering.
There he is. There's the one.
Have you spoken to them yet?
Oh,
It feels like what you can remember going through?
very much so, Doctor. Yes, I remember this.
And that kind of distortion.
Yeah, yes.
The doctor would
Yes,
look like
yes,
that to
yes,
you.
Yes. This, yes. This,
Okay? All right.
I'm sorry, guys.
Ken got his life back again 6 years ago. He now champions the cause of the mentally ill through his newspaper, New York City Voices. Ken is now free of both his visions and his voices. The drug Risperidol finally stopped the racket in his head. But for a quarter of the 2.5 million schizophrenics, those most severely ill, medication has not worked to rid them of either auditory or visual hallucinations. Drugs are the only available treatment for visual hallucinations, but there is now a new and innovative approach to the treatment of auditory hallucinations.
This is the device that we use to do the research.
Donald and Barbara volunteered for a small study of this new treatment, led by Dr. Hoffman at the Yale Psychiatric Institute. Dr. Hoffman and his team tested a procedure called transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS. It involves sending short pulses of magnetic stimulation to an area on the left side of the brain that is activated by speech. Some scientific evidence suggests that this area may be involved in the hearing of voices, so Dr. Hoffman's team focused the TMS on that area. Dr. Hoffman tried the experimental procedure on 12 patients. They received 40 minutes of TMS over 4 days. 8 of the 12 responded to the treatment, some right away, others responding only after getting the stimulation for several days. It was easy for them to know that it had worked because suddenly there was silence.
Welcome relief, welcome relief. I thought it was Christmas. Every day was Christmas.
Donald's voices went away for several weeks. His counselors at Family Services Woodfield saw him become his old self again. Barbara first had a positive reaction to TMS, but after 3 months of silence, the auditory hallucinations besieged her again.
Okay, Barbara, we're going to tip you back.
Okay. Desperate for another chance at shutting out the voices, Barbara is now part of a new, larger TMS study led by Dr. Hoffman. When we saw her, she had undergone several sessions and had already experienced some relief again from the voices.
It's very beneficial to me. It's so much better than being doped up on a lot of drugs.
Dr. Hoffman emphasizes that the TMS is experimental. Still, if it is proven to be effective for the long term, TMS could provide a non-drug alternative to the hundreds of thousands of schizophrenics suffering auditory hallucinations.
The implications are wide as to just saving some young people, you know, that maybe somebody who has a scientific mind like my brother did, and the fact that they could return to a useful life again.
Tim, that was extraordinary to see and hear what it is like for a schizophrenic. That's really the way it is?
Well, I could hardly believe it myself the first time I saw it, that time at Yale with Ken. So I turned to him after he had seen it, and I said, Ken, is that really what it's like? It seems so unbelievable. And he said, Tim, that is what it's like.
Those faces, those voices. And there still is no treatment that can wipe this out. No one treatment.
No, there are drugs that are helpful today, but they're not precise. I think in the next 10 years we'll have some very precise treatments, and that'll be wonderful.
There has been so much misunderstanding about these people. Let's hope that can happen. Thank you, Tim.
All right.